Hey everybody, Nick here, and today I got a review for you of a very strange little knife, and that's this little guy right here. This is the CRKT, Cricket, as I'm going to say, because it's quicker, Fulcrum number 2. I saw this little guy online and thought, okay, I need to give this a try, and I'm kind of glad that I did. This is designed by Russ Kommer. That's Kommer, not like comma in the middle of a sentence. But whatever it is, he's a custom knife maker from North Dakota. Interesting guy. And he came up with a crazy opening mechanism. That opening mechanism is as follows. When the knife is closed, there's no tab, there's no nothing to press. In order to open this knife, what you do is you grab on this side with the clip here, and then you apply force in this direction to the top scale. And when you do that, the blade pops out. You can see the scale actually completely pops off to the side there, and the blade pops open. And then to open it the rest of the way, you just pinch like you're going to grip the knife. And it pops the rest of the way in, and then this liner lock comes over and locks the knife open. Plenty secure once you do it. But yeah, and then to close it, you just unlock the liners. And then as you close it, this top scale moves. Come on now. And then, again, moves back. Neat. Weird as heck, but neat. So let's do a size comparison real quick on this very weird little knife as I'm throwing knives here. Spyderco Delica right here on top. Here, let's bring it all the way into the picture. It's an Ontario Rat number 1 and an Ontario Rat number 2. So blade length-wise, we're in Rat 2 territory here, which is always nice. Let's see here. Spyderco PM2 and Spyderco Sleesh Bowie. Why not, right? So there you go. That's the size comparison. Let's jump into the good, the great, the bad, and the ugly of this very weird little knife. So on the good side, first off, I do like the size. This is a relatively small knife, and I appreciate that deeply. It's also fun to play with, so I'm probably going to do that a lot. But, you know, looking at the size here, we're looking at someplace in the, 2.75 to 3-inch range. Probably 2.7 by most measures. So that's nice. It's going to be legal in a lot of places, and it's absolutely neat. Next thing is that it is using phosphor bronze washers. Here, I'll partly kind of take this off the rails so you can see that. Here's a phosphor bronze washer, and on the other side is bronze. By the way, you can see this is how the mechanism itself works. This little post here slides inside these little grooves. Then I can just lower this back down onto there. Come on now. And that's how it works. But anyways, it's using phosphor bronze washers rather than Teflon. That's a beautiful thing for an inexpensive CRKT. That's good. Next thing is that this is still fundamentally a liner lock knife. What's actually locking this knife open is this liner, and it is very, very secure. The other thing to highlight is even with the liner out of the way, this still won't shut until this scale is able to move. So you effectively have kind of 2 layers of insurance against this closing on your hand. Even if the liner lock disengages, and I've got the liner lock disengaged, right now, I still can't shut this knife because the scales need to move side to side in order for this knife to shut. So, weird little thing, but I guess a little more secure. Next thing, they've designed this well given the opening mechanism with this pad here. You can see here that there's not only a little bit of concavity to that little pad, but there's a nice bit of texture here. And on the other side, you've got the clip. So you can really effectively, because you need to do this sort of a motion here, they've given you effective affordances to do that. The clip on the one side and this pad on the top make that actually a lot easier than you'd think it might be. So that's a beautiful thing. And then finally, on the good side, the design of the knife is actually pretty in a couple of ways. I find it's got a nice little bit of symmetry here. I do love this swedge, and the blade shape overall is pretty nice. I don't think this is supposed to be a recurve. I just think it was poorly ground. But whatever it is, that's a little iffy. But nonetheless, that's fine. And the handle design is nice too. I mean, ergonomically speaking, once this is in your hand and open, it's pretty decent, all told. So, I like the design of the knife overall, even putting aside the weird little fulcrum trick. So, there you go. That's what's good to me, is that I like the design of the knife very much, just aesthetically speaking. They've done a good job of giving you nice affordances for opening and closing the knife here. It's still fundamentally a liner lock, although it's got a little bit of extra security in that the scales need to separate for the knife to close back down again. It is running on phosphor bronze, and the size of it is very nice. Let's talk about what's great here about this knife. To me, what's great about this knife is that it is different. It's weird as heck. It's vaguely crazy, and that's excellent. In a world where so many brand new knives are just vanilla frame locks, like, oh, hey, look, another frame lock flipper, wow, go figure. It's a fine knife, but still. It's really nice to see that something that is absolutely unique. There is not anything else out there that is just like this knife, and that's great. So I appreciate very much not only that this design exists, but that it was brought to production by Cricut here. This is very nice. This absolutely has disadvantages, this opening mechanism, sure. This is not the optimal solution to folding knife. There is probably a reason that there are a lot more frame locks than knives like this one out there. However, at the same time, we learn something new from these sorts of weird knives going out into the world and trying. It's thinking outside the box. Even if we don't like the innovation in the grand scheme of things, it's really nice to see it tried, and I applaud them very much for doing something that's absolutely crazy here. So to me, what is great is that this knife that is so fundamentally strange is a thing at all. I love the fact that they went there and that they, tried to do this mechanism right. And I think by and large, by the way, they have. It's not a bad opening mechanism. And as I've used it more, it's smoothed out and I've gotten better with it. So, it's fine. So there you go. That's the great, is that this opening mechanism is completely insane, and they went there. Let's talk about the bad. So on the bad side, first off, this opening mechanism absolutely does have a learning curve to it. When you pop it open, it takes a while to get used to this set of motions, where you pop it like that and then use your thumb to pull it back the rest of the way there. After a while, you get to a point where you don't necessarily need your fingers to enter the slicing path here, but it never feels great. It never feels super intuitive to me, at least having, had this for maybe a month and a half, 2 months now, and playing with it on a regular basis. So, I don't know. I don't necessarily love the opening mechanism, although it's absolutely functional. Next thing, the steel on this guy isn't great. It's 8CR13 MOV. We'll talk a little bit more about the price a little bit later, but I don't know. That doesn't bring me much joy. It's a steel that's okay for ETC, I guess. I also don't love the coated blade on this guy. I don't know what this coating is, but whatever it is, it's gonna wear and look ugly. Every time CRKT coats blades, I cry a little inside. That's okay. Next thing is that this is relatively thick behind the edge. It's not the end of the world, but, I think they could have done a little bit hollower of a grind here or something like that. You can tell there's a corner cut there. There is also no sharpening choil on this knife, unlike many other knives, which allows you to sharpen all the way to the edge, and so as a result, this little chunk right here is completely unsharpened. It's not great. Next thing that you're probably going to be surprised isn't bad rather than ugly is that this knife is Loctited shut. Every single one of these screws is secured with a permanent thread locker. Even the clip screw, which makes sense because it is tip down only, which we're going to talk about in a second here. But the thing is, I kind of get it here because this action really depends on the tightness of these screws, specifically the pivot screw here and whatnot. And you don't actually need to to take these screws apart to mostly maintain this knife. So, I feel like I'm more okay with the Loctite here than I usually am. But, yeah, I don't know, not super in love with it. And so that is still not great. And then finally, on the bad side, and one of the things that makes me like this knife, or makes me dislike this knife most, is that it is tip-down only carry. I understand them wanting to have the clip where it is, because that provides a really useful affordance for pulling against, to be able to get your fingertips against the clip here. And so having this knife with a tip-up clip would probably not work out as well, but I am a tip-up clip carry devotee, and that's a bit ugly to me. So, there you go. That's the bad, is that it is tip down only. It is Loctited shut, although I kind of get it here. There's no sharpening choil. It's thick behind the edge. I don't love the coated blade or the steel for that matter, and this lock does require a lot of fiddling to get used to. You can get better with it over time, but it's still fiddly no matter what. Let's talk about the ugly. To me, what's ugly about this knife is that the tolerances in its manufacture are pretty poor. I mean, it's a CRKT, so we saw that one coming, but still. For instance, when the knife is open, this scale rattles around a great deal. I mean, you got yourself a tactical maraca here. Not great sort of an affair. And you know, it kind of makes sense, given the construction of this guy, that this would rattle around a little bit in there, but I think that could have been solved by a tighter manufacturing set of tolerances. The other issue is that you've got yourself a little bit of side-to-side blade play on this guy, kind of in this dimension. And I can kind of understand that, again, because remember that the pivot, unlike most knives, is only supported from one side of the scale here. And so it doesn't really shock me there. I bet you could fix it, but it'd probably be tough to fix. But either way, I mean, both of those things are distinctly ugly. The scale rattle and the side-to-side blade play, and so I really do have to comment on them. Although we'll talk a little more about them in the final conclusion. But that's the uglies, that the tolerances just aren't great here. Final conclusions. This is not a super functional knife. I mean, you know this already. There's a reason that this is the only knife out there that's using this locking mechanism that I'm aware of. You know, it cuts things, absolutely. It deploys fine. It is safe. I have no concern that this knife is going to fall apart on me as I'm using it. You know, who knows? Maybe it'll fail in weird ways down the road, but I'm pretty okay with this knife. The thing is, though, it is also tip down only. The steel isn't impressive. The fit and finish isn't that great, and the tolerances are very, very poor. You know, this is not a showpiece for tolerances, and oh man, the tactical maraca thing bugs me a little bit here. But that's not really what this is about. This is not meant to be a high tolerances functional knife. This is a showpiece. This is a weird little chunk of fun. This is CRKT and Russ Kommer saying, hey guys, check this out. Look what we did. You know, at $40, it's pricey enough to be done safely and acceptably. You're not paying a huge amount of money to nail down all of these little tolerances issues. And you know what? I think that's the right strategy here. That's right. Nick Shabazz is actually saying that I'm glad they didn't use great tolerances. Because if you were to make this with great tolerances, you were to make this so that there was zero rattle, the lockup was perfection, I don't know that this would make much sense. This is inexpensive enough that a knife guy can check it out without hurting too much. But it's not so pricey that it becomes ridiculous, that you expect the, oh my God, this is something I'm going to have to carry every damn day if I buy it. I think they did the price right here, and I even think they did the tolerances right. It's not great, but it's not unsafe either, and it lets you see the little bit of fun here. So if you're just after a solid everyday carry knife, $40 can get you way more from other brands and models. The Rat 1 and D2 steel comes to mind. Better knife in every dimension. The Fulcrum is not the best choice for everyday carry. Frankly, I'm not even sure it's a great choice for everyday carry. But if you are a collector of knives or an enthusiast and you want yourself a budget-friendly knife that you could carry if you want to, and that'll turn heads at a table full of knife guys, then by God, this is a neat thing. And it's a very outside-the-box sort of choice. So, do I recommend it? No. Is it a cool knife? I think so. There you go. That's where I land on it. I hope this has been interesting to you, and mostly I hope that you have yourselves an absolutely wonderful rest of your day, and that this review is pivotal in your decisions. Get it? Because it's a Fulcrum? I guess a Fulcrum and a pivot are different. Mechanical engineers are going to be giving me hate. Hey, whatever. Anyways, have yourselves a good one. Bye now.